Today I'm going to show you how to get sweet potatoes started so that you can grow them in your garden this summer and harvest them this fall. Now, sweet potatoes are much different than any other potato because with other potatoes, you would wait for them to grow a few eyes on them, chunk them up, and then plant them, and then you would have a whole bunch of potatoes underneath the soil in the fall. Now, sweet potatoes are much different because you can't just plant this and expect a whole bunch of sweet potatoes to grow because these don't grow eyes. We need to plant sweet potatoes from a slip. So today I'm going to show you exactly how we can get slips from these sweet potatoes, and there's two different ways that you can do that. And if you didn't know, sweet potatoes aren't actually a potato, but rather they're a tuber from a morning glory vine. If you've ever had a morning glory plant and you've dug it up, you'll notice that there are things underneath the ground that look like sweet potatoes because that's exactly what they are. They are tubers from the morning glory vine. It's the roots from the morning glory vine. So that's why they're a little bit different, and we plant them a little bit differently. All right, so there are two different ways that we can get slips from these potatoes. Now, first, you can either use sweet potatoes that you harvested last year from your garden and you kept them over winter, and then you can try to get slips out of them that way in the spring. Or you can go to the grocery store and get organic sweet potatoes. It is important that you get organic because the non-organic ones are sprayed with chemicals that prevent slips from growing. So you're going to be waiting a long time for those slips and they just won't ever happen. So make sure that you're getting organic so that the slips can grow and we can grow our own sweet potatoes in our garden. The first way will require a glass jar. I like to use a mason jar and some water, as well as 4 toothpicks. And the other way will require a tray of some sort, a box, something of this nature to hold the sweet potatoes, and then some potting soil. You can also use seed starting mix. Really any soil will do. It does not have to be special, but I had some of this actually left over from last year. It's just regular potting soil. And then we're gonna need water as well to moisten that soil. The first one I'm gonna show you is with the glass mason jar. What we're gonna do here is pick one of the sweet potatoes. I'm gonna do this smaller one, and we are going to stick 4 toothpicks in it, probably a third of the way down from the top, just a little ways in. And we're gonna put 4 of them in. And this is just to hold it in the jar. And we're just gonna place it right in the jar like that. And now we're gonna place it in our windowsill. It does not need to be in direct sunlight all day long. I like to keep it in a windowsill. And within a few weeks, you're gonna start noticing slips growing right out of the top here. So just keep it right in this water. You don't need to replace the water or anything. This will do until the slips start to grow. So I'm gonna place this in my windowsill. And now for the second method, I'm gonna dump some potting soil or any soil that you have right in a container like this. And we're gonna moisten the soil. We want it pretty moist for them. We're not really gonna be adding any more water to them unless they get really dried out. So just make sure that it's nice and moistened before we get started. Okay, that will do. And I'm just gonna work down one end. I don't need to use the whole thing. It would just be a waste of soil. We just want enough space for the 3 sweet potatoes that I have to fit. Okay, and now we're gonna take these sweet potatoes and halfway bury them down into the soil. That one's a little big, but we'll see if it works. And I'm just gonna spray them off because I don't like how it looks so messy. You don't have to do this, but. And there, they just look a little neater, a little more clean. Then I'm gonna pop a humidity dome on here, and that's it. And I'm gonna place this near a windowsill as well. This does not need to be under any grow lights or on a heat mat or anything. These need to be kept moist, so that's why I'm keeping this humidity dome on. And within a few weeks, you're gonna notice slips start to grow out of the top of these potatoes. And that's when you can take the humidity dome off once they start to hit the top of it. So now the hard part is waiting. So once these slips start to grow out of the top of our potatoes, whether you're doing this method in the glass cup or the one in the tray, The sweet potato slips will start to grow in a few weeks. So once they get 6 or 8 inches tall, we're going to pluck them off, and you'll just pluck it directly off from the potato. Depending on when your soil warms up will determine your next step after you pluck the slips off. So sweet potatoes like to be planted at 70 degrees. So once the soil warms up to 70 degrees, they can be planted into your garden. The slips can be planted into your garden. If the soil has warmed up to 70 degrees by the time that your slips grow 6 to 8 inches tall, you can plant the slips directly into your garden, and then they'll begin to grow the sweet potatoes. They'll begin to grow roots, and it'll just take right off. If your soil isn't warmed up to 70 degrees by the time that these slips are 6 to 8 inches tall, you will need to keep them in a glass of water just like this one. So I would actually just remove this potato and put the slips right in this jar, and it will begin to grow roots in this jar. I'm in zone 4. I know my soil is not going to be warm enough by the time that these slips grow, so I will definitely be putting them in a jar with water, which is completely fine. Same concept as planting them in your garden. We're just establishing those roots, and once my soil warms up to 70 degrees, I'll take them out of this glass jar and I'll then plant them in my garden. I post lots of gardening content just like this, and we are just getting started for the 2026 growing season. So to see more planting videos, seed starting videos, and all things gardening, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel.